Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm so glad you joined me here today. Welcome to this edition of Stroke of Genius, where we begin to talk more to people that are struggling with disabilities. And sometimes disabilities are ones that you can see, and sometimes disabilities are ones that you can't. So having that understanding that there are people out there in the world with these disabilities, it's great to be able to understand that you can have an impact in if you're one with disabilities, or you can have an impact if you're one without disabilities. So, and I have a guest coming on today, so he's been phenomenal to be able to work with and to understand what he's going through. But he is going to help us to understand how disabilities aren't always on the surface. They don't always show up. So without any further ado, I want to bring on none other than Mr. Matt Haggard. Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm awesome.
I pronounced your last name wrong. How do you pronounce your last name?
Hargett, like Target, but with an H.
Target. Got it. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your story, and I'm gonna go away for a little bit while you're doing this. So take as much time as you want, and let the audience know what it is that you've gone through, and how you've been able to overcome that, and to be able to help other people.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what happened to me was actually, let's go backward a little over 5 years ago. I was doing really well. I was working at a big company. It was an automotive company. It was Honda R&D. I ran some global vehicle developments for them across the global company. It was a global vehicle development. I became an executive, married with 3 kids in a nice house in Powell, Ohio, and which is a great neighborhood. And then all of a sudden one day, I woke up and I couldn't and did not want to get out of bed. I don't even know where it came from. It came out of nowhere. So on the outside, everything looked to be great, right? Everything was going well for me. And then suddenly one day it wasn't. And probably being a man and my upbringing, told to be tough and suck it up and just deal with it, I didn't get any help. Even though my wife at the time, urged me to, I didn't even want to admit I had a problem. And that's one of the reasons I want to talk about it, because men typically don't want to talk about emotional and mental health issues. And it really devastated my life, because I didn't seek help, and I didn't see anybody for 9 months, until 9 months after that happened. But by the time it was all over, years later, I lost my job, my family, my money. I was basically bankrupt in every way, until I really started making a concerted effort to make a change, which was a little over a year ago. And I committed to improving myself in every area, and specifically meditation and prayer every morning before I did anything else, and then journaling immediately afterward. It was really odd. About a month or 2 after I started that process, I suddenly woke up one day and I was a different person. I don't even know how to explain it. It sounds, if I was talking to myself over 5 years ago, I would think, man, that doesn't, what is this person talking about? But I actually changed my mindset. My mind slowed down, it stopped racing, and I woke up a happy person. It's really interesting. So I completely changed my life.
How do you do that? I mean, that's an interesting story. So, You did that through prayer and meditation. So are there specific things you pray about, or how do you? And from a journaling point of view, you write everything in your mind? How do you do that?
Yeah, well, when I would meditate, so the first thing, there's a lot of different meditations, right, Brian? I mean, there's different ways and poses and all that. And
Sure.
this doesn't have anything to do with that. You just need to be comfortable. I think I started sitting in a big chair, and then now, even today, I just stay in bed. I don't do anything else. So you have to, not phone, not be eating, drinking, smelling anything, thinking about anything else,
Hmm.
and focus, kind of like disassociate yourself from your mind and then tell your mind what you want to be. That's how I did it. So I wanted to be, yeah, I said I wanted to be happy.
Yeah.
I told myself that I was happy. So that was the singular focus that I put into my mind. And I did it so intensely that I allowed myself to feel it on top of it. So not only was I like, think if I was laying in my bed and I'm looking at myself right from the corner of the room,
Yeah.
and I'm telling myself that I'm happy, and then I'm allowing myself to feel that I'm happy. I even start smiling and I feel happy. And then after I do that for a while, like basically like my brain in a way to like feel that way for a certain period of time, I mean minutes, then I would end with, all the things that I was grateful for. I thank God for everything I was grateful for that was still in my life. I still have my 3 children, and they're like a joy for me. And, I would then, after I would finish on that gratitude, I'd get up, grab my journal, and scribble down. Doesn't have to be neat or anything, but just write down everything that I meditated on, from wanting to be happy and healthy to everything that I was grateful for. That kind of like further ingrains it into your mind and into your being.
Yeah. Yeah. So you don't work at Honda anymore, right?
No.
Okay. And you're not married.
Nope.
So when that morning happened, when you woke up and you just didn't want to get out of bed, how did you feel? Was there a trigger? Was there something that happened? How did that happen?
I don't know. That's so difficult to explain. I don't know what the trigger was. I mean, this is just my theory. I worked a lot. I worked too much. I mean, that's all I focused on, right?
Mm.
I wasn't a good husband or father. I was always gone. I was always working. I really enjoyed it. And I also justified it. I was taking care of the family.
Sure.
I even, stopped going to church or being the one in the family to say, hey, let's go to church. I just felt like I didn't have time for anything else. And that's all I did. So I kind of hypothesized that once I became, an executive at Honda, then you're kind of at a level where I don't want to say there's no one to like talk to or commiserate with. You know what I'm saying? That's part of it. And then when I would come home and my wife would be awake, because many times she wasn't, like I would be talking about work, and then she would just put up her hand and not want me to talk about it. So maybe I was just taking on everything myself, right? And I didn't have an outlet for it. That could be why. I really don't know. I'm just really shocked that happened to me. It just happened, Brian.
So when you woke up that morning, did you feel like, oh, you just want to stay in bed? Because I mean, we all have that feeling at times, where it's nice and warm in here. I've gotten whatever feeling good about, and so was it like that, or was it like I just don't want to even move?
No, yeah, it's not like it was this morning when I woke up and it was really cold in my room, and I'm like, boy, I don't want to get out of bed because it's cold out there. No, that wasn't it. It was more of I I I don't want to deal with anything.
Hmm.
I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to go to work. I want the day to be over. I want to stay here, and I want the day to be over so that I can just stay here again overnight. It's really hard to explain. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to move. A deep sense of dread.
Hmm. All
Yeah.
right. Just out of curiosity, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I don't know. I think I'm an extrovert. I like talking to people, and I don't know what the definition is, but I'd say I'm an extrovert.
Huh. Wow.
Oh
So,
yeah, which is a big yeah. So it was a complete change. If that's what you're asking, like, was I an introverted person? No, I was all I have no problem talking to anybody. I mean, we're all humans. We're all equal. So I don't. Maybe when I was younger, I would get nervous talking to someone who was at some high level or someone famous. But no, that doesn't bother me at all. So yeah,
okay.
it was just a complete change in my character and just this deep sense of sadness. Like I didn't even want to live anymore, and I didn't know what the purpose of my life was.
So you went for 9 months feeling that way?
Yeah, well, at some point, I summoned up my kind of call it manliness, but I don't think it's really manly. I just got mad at myself.
Hmm.
Right? That's not a good way to deal with it. So I pretended I didn't have a problem. Then I just started literally swearing at myself, like, this is not going to happen to me.
Hmm.
F this. I'm effing getting out of bed. And I would get out of bed, and then I would be like kind of angry or volatile almost throughout the day. As my ex-wife once said to me, she didn't know who to expect, you
Really?
know. Yeah, yeah. So I didn't deal with it the right way, right? I didn't go talk to anybody. So instead of feeling sad and depressed and just curling up in bed, I would summon up this internal anger at myself and everything else, I guess, and get myself out of bed,
So you
instead of
took,
dealing with it the right way.
you took your anger out into the world.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Not
Wow.
not good. Not a good you know, hiding mental illness and then trying to overcome it with quote unquote manliness by getting angry at yourself and everyone. Yeah, obviously it did not work out well for me. So that's why I'd like, want to talk about what happened to me in my story
Go ahead.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
please. Don't let me interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I just don't want anybody to go through the same thing, right? If they
Yeah.
start feeling like that, then they should talk to someone. And if they don't feel like they don't have anyone to talk to, then reach out to a therapist or a counselor, you know.
So what do you say when you reach out to someone or to call a therapist? And what do you say? Just tell
Yeah,
them how you're feeling.
yeah, you have to admit what's happening to you and how you're feeling, right? You just have to, you have to come to terms with it. It's, for me, it was just an admission that, okay, I do have a problem and I cannot solve this by myself, and the part of the problem is, especially for men, they're supposed to be dealing with everything and themselves and suck it up, and but it's not a physical injury. It's nothing that you can just keep plodding along on. But in some respects, Brian, it is like a physical. So, just like someone gets hurt or they get sick, there's ways to help people and overcome that, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people, heal.
Yeah.
Same thing with a mental illness. Like 80 to 90%, get better. So it's not something that will necessarily stick with you for life if you address it. So that's what I want to encourage people and everyone to understand, that it's not something that you're gonna live with the rest of your life. And I wish I would have addressed it, right away. And obviously, my life would be a lot different than it is right now. But that's why I encourage people to go seek help and realize that it's just like a physical injury, and there should be no stigma around it, right? Just because you can't see it, or that a broken leg, you're not, that's the other point. If you have a broken leg, Brian, are you going to try and fix it yourself?
No.
No. Yeah, it's the same thing with the mental illness, right? Like, we're not. You can't fix yourself. So you have to go and get some help, and you can recover just like a physical injury or illness.
Yeah, that's a great point. Very, very good point. So I know you've gotten your help. And this is, how long ago did you get help? A year ago?
Well, yeah, that's a long story. So this is like why it's bad. I really didn't handle it well. I had when it happened over 5 years ago. 9 months into that, so this is still like 4.5 years ago. I finally went to see someone, a counselor, but I don't know if I was all in yet. Because one time I went to even see a primary doctor with my wife at the time, and she said some things, and then I just immediately kind of denied it.
Your wife did, or
yeah, my wife did. My wife did.
Okay.
To like I guess get the conversation going in there with the doctor, and I kind of denied it, and that got her upset, and she just left the room. So I was still, even though I was seeking help, I wasn't really seeking help, right? Like, I didn't quite admit I had a problem yet. Then I went to group some counseling or therapy, even some group therapy, saw a psychiatrist, started taking medication. I did that for a long time. And then about a year and a half ago, when I realized, I was getting a divorce, I didn't have a job at the time already, and then I was getting a divorce. I really had to do something. And that's when I started meditating and taking it extremely seriously. And that, honestly, along with other changes that I made in my life, like diet and nutrition, that's what made the big difference. It was about a year and a half ago with the meditation. And now, I mean, not only did my mind change, like I mentioned, I'm no longer taking medication either.
Really?
Yeah, or going to therapy or counseling. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Good for you.
Yeah.
So,
thanks.
Real quick for our audience, if you have questions for Matt, please put them in the comment section. Also, if you would, please put in the hashtag live if you're listening to this live. If you're listening to a replay, put in the hashtag replay. And also, if you would, also let us know where you're coming in from. So where you're at. That would be helpful for us as well. So if you do all that, that would be great. And we would love to have a further recognition of who you are and how we can help you. So, Matt, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's great. I can even see the chat too. So when a question comes in.
Yeah. Good. So tell me, year and a half ago, you changed your diet. What did you do to change your diet? And how? Why did you do that? What were you thinking there?
Well, what I was thinking was, at the time, I needed to make, this is about a year and a half ago, I needed to make an entire life reset, like the reset button. So looking at all areas of my health, my physical health, my emotional health, social, financial health, I think there's 6 different areas. I had to look at what I wanted in each area, like a goal, and why I wanted it. And I wrote it all down, to make it, and then I acted on it. So for physical health, I always worked out. And I wanted to continue to do so. So I wrote that down. But, my diet wasn't always the best, right? So I wrote down, I wanted to eat more fruits and vegetables, for example, right? Because, that's better for me. I wanted to drink less alcohol, for example. So I would drink alcohol just because I liked it. I wasn't getting drunk every night, but I would like to drink. I would drink anywhere from, say, 1 to 3, every night, even if I wasn't with anyone.
Sure.
And one of the changes I made was in my life, it's a commitment to myself, was I'm no longer going to drink by myself. Even if I want just one, there's no reason to do it, So I cut a lot of that out of my life and my diet, along with, the exercise. I lost almost, and eventually I lost almost 40 pounds. And about 2 months ago, Brian, I ran an ultra marathon. I ran 28 miles. Yeah.
Really?
I know. Yes. And I'm 6'8", so you might not see a 6'8" guy actually running marathons, But I lost a lot of weight and I ran 28 miles.
Wow. I've never heard of an ultra marathon. So that's what that is, 28 miles.
Yeah, well, anything over 26.2 miles is considered an ultra marathon. So that's why, I learned, I ran an ultra marathon. Holy cow. That was a life goal at age 50. So
nice. Very nice. That's good. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we're the time is flying by here. I don't know how this is happening. So we're already 23 minutes into this, and we've got another 7 minutes or so to go, but we can go a little long if we need to. But I know what you're doing now is really important as well. So you've gone through your diet, you're working out more, you're journaling, you're also making sure you meditate and you pray. What else is it that we can leave our audience with that will help them to understand if they have something in their heart or in their mind where they know that it's just not quite right? They know that the something is amiss, and they need to have someone to help them with it. What can they do?
I think the first thing to do, I mentioned it earlier, is to accept, something is not right with them, that there's a problem, and then talk to someone about it, whether it's your spouse first, a friend, or reach out and get some help from, a counselor or a therapist. But the first step is to accept, that something's wrong and it's okay. And the reason it's okay is so many people experience it. Almost half of adults in the US will have some type of mental illness in their life. And I think that's what a lot of us don't understand or realize. So we think, oh, something's wrong with us, and then we just want to hide it like I did.
Right.
That's not true. If you look around, half the people are going to experience something. You got a good chance that something's going to happen to you too, and it's okay. It just happens. Mm-hmm. So just helping people understand that these things happen. And they happen very frequently, to just, accept that they have, that something's wrong, and to talk to someone about it. That's the first step.
Where can they go? Do a search online, or is there a spot where they would go?
That's a great question. So for me, I worked at bigger companies. Mm-hmm. Honda, and then a couple more after that. And there, you could go into the healthcare system. There's typically help there. I never went there. You know, that's part of my problem, right? That I
Exactly. Yeah.
So I didn't even bother to look for a while. But yeah, there are organizations out there in the community that even offer free services. So if you don't have healthcare and you don't have the financial means, there are pro bono services through organizations, nonprofits, such as Mental Health America, National Alliance on Mental Illness. There are resources out there. And yes, it's, people can also search for resources, simply Google it.
What was it? Mental health.
Mental Health America.
America.
Yeah, so if I go to
.com?
that. Oh, that's a good, good question. I would just Google it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me just put that into the banner here so people have it.
Okay. Yeah, if I can, it comes up mhanational.org.
Okay.
And then
So,
there are more local organizations, there are smaller organizations in our area.
Mental Health America. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There's also, if people are local and they just want to, some resources and tips to, feel better about various emotional issues. One of the project teams that I work with at Can't Stop Columbus, a volunteer organization, we put out a monthly newsletter that help people.
So let's see here. Can't Stop Columbus. And I'm sure that's another organization you can just search on.
Right. And that one actually is can'tstopcolumbus.com. And
It is.
yeah, there's various emotional and behavioral health projects ongoing that people can find there.
And so these are obviously in the Columbus area, but there's also some in your area as well, no matter where you are.
Right.
So that's really important for us all to understand that. Oh, see, I need to take the apostrophe out of can't, I think, right?
Right. Yeah, take out the apostrophe. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah. And some of the resources in there, I mean, they're not just for Columbus, especially the emotional behavioral health ones, right? They can be applied worldwide. Our newsletter and some of the videos and articles and even everyone can take advantage of.
Probably assessments in there as well.
An assessment. Oh, do you mean your mental health assessment?
Yeah.
That's a good question. No, I don't think right now, but that's something that we've discussed. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on. This has been great. Is there something else that we need to leave the audience with to make sure that they understand the importance? And again, we can have you back on and we can talk more about this. But what would you leave the audience with to make a lasting impression on them?
I would say, again, if you don't feel right, or you feel sad or depressed or extremely anxious all the time, it's okay. You're not alone. As I mentioned, almost half the people deal with this at some point in their life. Don't hesitate to reach out for help, and you'll be okay, because most people recover.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that helps people a lot to have someone that in your shoes that haven't gone through some of these things that are tough, and having that ability to understand that there is somebody else out there that can help them to also make sure that they understand that they can get through this. So that's important for us all to understand. So thank you so much for saying that. And thank you for being on.
Oh, Brian, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, Matt.
All right, Brian.
All right. We'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Right. Bye.